Hello fellow AGD coders, welcome back to another video. This is going to be a very quick one. Just wanted to show you an alternative method for exporting sprites out of ZX Paintbrush and into AGD. Now obviously you can use the tap method. You can save a file off as a tap and then load it into AGD and into the scratchpad, and that will work fine. However, sometimes that can be a little bit laborious because you have to do it sort of frame by frame. And the other thing that you have to be aware of is that when you're very short of memory, it can crash AGD as well. So this is probably a slightly quicker alternative. There is still a little bit of work involved, but it's always good to have a choice. So let's take a look at what we've got here. As you can see, I've got 12 frames of Terrapin animations here from my game Terrapins, and I'm going to show you how you can basically put them into AGD. So as you can see, I've spread them out here over a certain amount of space so that there's a gap in between each one. And what you'll see here is, if I take away the attributes, is that we've got 4 squares of 16 by 16 in between each sprite. The reason for that, as most of you will know, is that sprites are pre-shifted in AGD, so each one takes up 128 bytes. And so if we basically put this gap in here, we'll be able to grab the data, load it into AGD, and we won't sort of get any graphical corruption because these images here will all line up properly. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the 16 by 16 select, and I'm picking up the whole group of sprites in one go, including these gaps here, so that when I save it off as a binary, it will be compatible with the AGD format. So I now go to here and export. I click down here and choose binary, and I'll now save it off as a binary file. Let's call it terrapin1.bin. There we go. Right, so we'll save that off. Now what we need to do here, we need to turn off the attributes. It should be block based, and of course what we've got here are blocks of 16 by 16, so I'll set those up here. 16 by 16, there you go. You could do 16 by 24 as well, of course, for the larger sprites if you're using those, so that it will work just as well with that as well. And there we go, that's it, I've saved it off. So all we have to do now is jump back into AGD. Here's AGD, and let's basically load it in. What I've got here, as you can see, I've made 4 sprites here, and each of them has 3 frames, so 3 times 4 is 12, and so we've got the right number of frames. Obviously you have to make sure that you create blank sprites before you do this, because otherwise you'll be overwriting memory. Now AGDX here, as you can see, tells you where sprite 0, frame 0 begins, and so you can basically load this in, and I'm loading in from sprite 0. You can load in later, as long as you keep track of your memory and make sure you know where everything is, then you won't have any problems there. So all I have to do is load this data into the address provided here, and go to the next frame, and there you go. As you can see, it's loaded in fine here, and there's a slight error there. That's just I've actually drawn it incorrectly, so I go back and correct it and re-import it if I needed to. So that's it really. That's how you can import sprites in bulk. Obviously memory allowing, you have to bear that in mind, and you can use this to edit your sprites more efficiently in the sprite editor package, something like ZX Paintbrush. Bring them in, and it's pretty easy to change them and edit them and so on, and that's pretty much how I work. So yeah, that's it. Hope you found it useful. I'll be back with a longer video about AGDX version 3, as you can see, which I'm using here. But in the meantime, keep enjoying the spectrum, and as always, happy coding. Take care, thanks. Bye bye.